My story is filled with broken pieces, terrible choices, and ugly truths. It's also filled with major comebacks, peace in my soul, and the grace that saved my life. Never knowing what my worth was because of the previous traumas, then the self destruction, and allowing society to say, when this happens to you or you go through these things, you're no good. Something clicked. Integrity, small word, but powerful meaning. Integrity has so much structure around it, and something I never practiced, something I never thought of. But the person who sent me was my biological father, who I didn't have a real relationship. He saw something in me that I did not identify until after he was trying to build a relationship and I was trying to run away from the relationship. I was grown, I had children. Why do I need you now? God rest his soul. He's not here anymore, but I was able to thank him years later. And it wasn't the financial part, it was his way of showing that he cared and that he believed that I could do better. And I did do better. He got to see bits and pieces of the better, not all of it. Probably watching now, but it made me grow up and realize, regardless of where you come from, it doesn't determine where you're going to go. For me, the significance of that was it's never too late to learn. And I was reluctant at first. I had every excuse not to go. I lived in Oakland. I'm not driving to Berkeley, 3 days a week. And I thought about parking. I thought about the minimal stuff to not go. Yeah, I was soaking in it. I could say I was drowning in it because it had become part of my lifestyle. It was a familiar place, even though it was uncomfortable, even though it didn't feel good being there, it was familiar. And I just got comfortable in an uncomfortable feeling. And I learned to live in that. I learned to function in that. And yeah, I functioned in pain and I functioned in not really wanting to let go of the pain because it gave me a sense. For me, it was power, but as you heal, it was a false power. It was an excuse not to change. It was an excuse to stay here because this is a familiar zone and I'm comfortable in this familiar. It's not until you really let go. I remember wanting to be a life coach 30 years ago because I'm always helping people. I thought working with the women in the substance abuse homes and helping them through recovery, I could be the best life coach. And I never understood why God never allowed me to be a life coach. And when I realized hurt people, I would have brought more damage to the table than I would have done healing. But now I'm a healing coach. Life coach wasn't even what I was supposed to be. That wasn't my destiny. It was to teach people that you can heal from anything. You have to want it, you have to believe it, and you have to work for it. While we're healing in pain, it's going to be uncomfortable. And my saying is we don't heal in comfort. There's no comfort in healing. It's a painful journey and it's a process we just have to trust. There was a teacher and I can't remember his name. It was a African American gentleman. And I remember him one day, it's probably like 75 people in his class. And I remember him pointing. He said, "Who are you?" And I said, "AnDrea." He said, "No, who are you?" And it took me maybe 2 or 3 classes to realize I didn't know me. I knew pieces of me. I knew the broken pieces of me, but I also learned that those pieces don't identify me. They either make me or break me. And I no longer wanted them to break me. I was in an art class, but a bunch of broken pieces of glass, and I remember gluing them onto this canvas. It turned out to be a masterpiece almost, because all those broken pieces put together made one big, beautiful canvas. I was the canvas. I was the broken pieces. All of that piece of art was about me. And that was probably like 15 years ago. And when my mother passed in 2018, I looked for it because I was like, Mom, don't ever throw this away. One thing I did learn other than integrity was forgiveness. As I forgave, I learned that just because you forgive doesn't mean I have to communicate with those people ever again. It just means that you're forgiven. The big thing I learned was that forgiveness was not for the other person, it was for me. And I felt all these different weights just coming off. And like I was walking on a cloud, like I was okay, like I'm gonna be okay. That was a happy moment when I learned to forgive and just move forward. And I don't have to look back to validate myself. Somewhere down the line, I actually fell in love with myself. I wouldn't go back and change anything because everything that I went through brought me to where I am right now today. My broken pieces allow me to do what I'm supposed to do. And I just said the other day, you know what? I'm thinking about going to buy some broken glass and make another canvas because now it's a better picture. It's a clearer picture, a picture full of color.